Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, whoever may be watching this video, Sim Update 11 is now finally out for Microsoft Flight Simulator, celebrating over 40 years of this glorious franchise. For those that don't know, the first initial Microsoft Flight Simulator version was released all the way back in 1982, before the dawn of modern computing, RTX 4090s, and everything in between. Today we have a modern state-of-the-art simulator with breathtaking visuals and unparalleled realism. The 1982 version walked so today's version of the sim could run, and there's something really beautiful about that. What is going on, guys? Flyby Simulations here, and with the 40th anniversary edition update released today, Sim Update 11 has also launched for the sim, bringing with it some fantastic new features, including a brand new Airbus A310, helicopters and gliders, which I don't know for how long have been on the community wish list, probably since the launch of the sim back in 2020, but are now finally here. Not only are they here, but Asobo and Microsoft have taken glider and helicopter simulation a few notches higher by carefully replicating ultra-realistic thermals and computational fluid dynamics systems to accurately simulate these aircraft for the sim. We'll cover all of this and much more in today's rather long update video, so sit back, relax, and get ready to fly by all the latest and greatest features from the newest Microsoft Flight Simulator update. Now, just before we get started with the video, just want to say that we're going to have tons of Microsoft Flight Simulator content coming up on the channel all throughout this weekend and the next week, including settings guides, performance comparisons, aircraft tutorials, and much more. So if you're part of the 84% or so of viewers that haven't yet subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification icon to stay in the know-how of everything happening in the world of flight sim. With that said, let's jump into today's video. Starting off then with the Airbus A310 made by AnyBuilds. This is a quote-unquote true-to-life airliner that is available for free on Microsoft Flight Simulator for anyone who has purchased any version of Microsoft Flight Simulator. And yes, that includes you guys on Xbox as well, which is fantastic considering this might very well be the first proper airliner you guys get to fly for the sim. And hopefully this paves the path for more developers to include support for their airliners that are only available on PC right now. I've had around 30 minutes of flying time, give or take, with the A310, and boy is it fun to fly. It's exactly what I expected from the team at AnyBuilds, who have already seen success with the release of this aircraft for X-Plane 11 back in the day. The aircraft supports fully modeled systems, including electrical, air conditioning, pneumatic, pressurization, and fuel-related subsystems, all with a great level of detail. Not only this, but as is consistent with most other AnyBuilds aircraft, the visuals are stunning. Both the external model and the internal model are fantastic renditions of the real aircraft, and the plane also comes with a fully custom set of sounds as well as a fully modeled cabin, including animated seatbelt signages too. Now, the Xbox version of the A320 unfortunately does skip on the fully modeled cabin, but it's a small price to pay to have a high-fidelity airliner on the console, so exciting stuff all around for sure. Finally, something I noticed that was very cool is that the A310 also takes full advantage of the proprietary checklist system within Microsoft Flight Simulator. This means that you can learn everything there is to learn about flying the A310 using the interactive checklist available in Sim, and can even skip steps and procedures, having the onboard AI do everything for you. A super neat feature for those of you who are looking to get into the air as soon as possible and not wanting to do a full code and dark setup just to be able to get the A310 up and flying. Next up then, let's move on from the A310 and talk about gliders. Now, we made a full dedicated video on gliders for the sim where we spoke about the new CFD changes Asobo is making to make gliders fly realistically and a whole bunch of other information. So click the link in the description or the top right hand corner of the screen to watch that if you want to go in depth on gliders. Having finally had hands-on experience with them though, I must say that it's a different type of flying I never thought I would want to really do, but what a load of fun it was. 2 gliders are included with this update, again completely for free, which are the DG Aviation DG101E Neo or the DG Aviation LSB18, and they both have their distinct nuances which make them very fun to fly. Once you've picked what glider to fly, you can also select how you wish to get airborne. In addition to using an AI-controlled Cessna 172 to take you to the skies, there are also 3 different winch systems that will propel you. Regardless of your option, you always have to start by moving your rudder to let the sim know you're ready to go. To assist with keeping the glider straight during the initial movement, a 3D animated character will run alongside you until he can keep up no more. It's a nice touch that those who have actually used gliders before in real life will surely appreciate, as Asobo has tried to recreate realistic procedures in the sim. In the air, the cable is eventually released, and you can then fly around following the sound of the audio variometer in the cockpit, which has been faithfully modeled. You'll use this audio variometer to stay in the air and maintain speed through auditory cues. Another massive part of flying gliders is obviously the thermals. With their new computational fluid dynamics or CFD simulations in sim, these thermals can help keep you in the air and allow you to exchange gravitational potential energy with kinetic energy. Actively seeking out the thermals is best done on a warm, sunny day where thermals often flow freely and upwards. To assist though, a new option in the weather menu will allow you to visually see thermals, giving you the best chance to enjoy your glider flight. Overall though, with around 30 minutes of in-sim flying time with gliders, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thought it was an extremely fun way to discover new places around the globe. You know what wasn't fun though, at least for me personally? Helicopters. Boy, were these challenging to get off the ground initially. I must have crashed at least 3 or 4 times when I initially cranked the collective to 100% in the Gimbal Cabri G2, one of the helicopters available with the update. This did not have the desired effect of me gently soaring up into the air like you see in the movies. Eventually, I realized that slowly raising the collective to around 65% does the trick, and from then on, it was smooth sailing and super duper fun. So expect to fail on your first few tries if you're a doofus like me, but yeah, 65% on the collective does the trick. As soon as you get in the air, then you can crank it all the way up and start flying around and soaring around the skies. According to Sebastian Locke, CEO of Asobo Studio, helicopters use a whole new flight dynamic engine to simulate them correctly. He explains that aircraft are currently simulated at 100 Hz, the rate at which the data is captured, but for helicopters, in order to be completely accurate, this has been upped to 1000 Hz, which is a 10-fold improvement in the rate of data capture. This allows the wind and generated forces to be accurate when flying these wingless birds. Turning on the CFD visualization, you will see firsthand just how wild the airflow is around helicopters. Those concerned about helicopters in the sim need not worry, as you are able to perform all the maneuvers you would expect to be able to pull off. 2 different helicopters are included with the 40th anniversary edition, the Gimbal Cabri G2 and the Bell 407. The Gimbal Cabri G2 is lighter and more agile, but it needs a lot of love and respect in order to keep it airborne, whereas the Bell 407 is heavier and thus provides a much more stable experience. Despite both being helicopters, they handle very differently and offer a unique experience. I certainly can't wait to get some more airtime with these and really start getting into their intricacies after I finish recording this video for you folks. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so with the standout features for Sim Update 11 and the 40th anniversary edition out of the way, there's still loads to talk about, including another dozen new aircraft, classic missions, handcrafted airports, as well as potential performance improvements, so let's get started. Starting off with all the other new aircraft included with this update, we have the following. We have the 1903 Wright Flyer, the 1915 Curtiss JN4 Jenny, the 1927 Ryan NYP Spirit of St. Louis, the 1935 Douglas DC-3, the beautiful 1937 Grumman G21 Goose, the 1947 Havilland DHC-2 Beaver. What's special is that pretty much all of the aircraft in the update were created by third-party developers such as Blackbird Simulations and Aeroplane Heaven. They're available for everyone, including PC and Xbox users. Be sure to give them a spin and let me know in the comments which ones you're most excited to fly first. Moving on to the handcrafted sceneries with this update, we have the classic Meigs Field Airport returning, located in Chicago. This airport served as the flagship airport for the original Microsoft Flight Simulator series for ages, so for a little sip of nostalgia, it's also now included for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. On top of this, we also have Kai Tak Airport in Hong Kong. Hailed as one of the most dangerous airports in the world, the airport is now closed in real life, but for those looking to experience the thrill of it once again, it now exists for you to fly in and out of if you choose to. There's also the iconic Princess Juliana Airport in St. Martin, as well as the First Flight Airport in Kitty Hawk. Now, you might be wondering what First Flight Airport is, and you'd be right to. First Flight Airport is actually another tip of the hat to the classic missions that were present in the original versions of Microsoft Flight Simulator back in the day. As mentioned before, the sim update also includes, and this is pretty exciting, 24 classic activities and missions from previous Flight Simulator titles, including First Flight. Nostalgia overload for those of you that have been part of the franchise for the past few decades. And I know there's a few of you guys out there because I see you guys in my comment section all the time, so tons of stuff for you guys to check out. Now, on top of these missions, we also get 7 dedicated tutorial missions for gliders, which we will 100% be checking out on the channel, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out. We'll be sure to do all of the missions as well as the tutorials on the channel together. With all of that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's quickly run through all of the quality of life improvements that Asobo has brought to this update, because let's not forget, it's still a sim update at the end of the day, and part of the reason for these updates is to bring performance enhancements and general improvements to the sim. We'll briefly cover these changes, and as usual, I leave a link to the official Sim Update 11 changelog in the description section of the video if you guys want to go check it out for yourselves. So then, first things first, live traffic has been updated in the sim with a full suite of improvements such as flight plan interpolation, better aircraft behavior, and more. Again, link in the description for full details. Next up, a new memory defragmentation system has also been implemented by Asobo to limit maxed out virtual memory on your video cards, especially when using DirectX 12. This was previously causing FPS losses and even crashes to the sim, but should now be fixed ideally. I haven't had time to test this yet, but a full performance comparison video should be coming out on the channel as is usual with every sim update released, so stay tuned for that. Speaking of performance, NVIDIA DLSS 3 is also now supported across the title, allowing for frame generation and buttery smooth frame rates. But NVIDIA being NVIDIA, this feature is only restricted to the RTX 4090. That being said though, Asobo have improved the regular NVIDIA DLSS 2 that came with the previous sim update, adding 2 new preset options, DLAA and Auto. Again, we'll be making a full ideal settings guide as well as a performance comparison video on the channel very soon, so make sure you're subscribed to not miss out on that. Support for the AMD equivalent to the NVIDIA DLSS, aka the AMD Fidelity Effects Super Resolution or FSR feature, has also received support in the sim. Now, note that this feature is also available on certain NVIDIA graphics cards, which is good to see. Again, the name says AMD, so you might assume that it's only available for AMD video cards, but the feature also exists for NVIDIA cards, so be sure to try it out and see what works best for your personal machine. We'll surely again do a comparison between the NVIDIA DLSS features and the AMD Fidelity Effects Super Resolution features and present the results on the channel at a later date. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of today's rather long update video. Of course, there was tons of stuff to cover, from the new aircraft coming, as well as the new airports, as well as all of these new quality of life features that Asobo have implemented. The 40th anniversary edition of Microsoft Flight Simulator has truly proved to be a rather fruitful update to both the veterans in the flight simulator space, as well as people that are new to the hobby. So very excited to see where the future of flight simulation goes from here. Let me know down in the comment section below what your most excited part of this update is. Is it the A310 for you guys? Is it the gliders? Is it the helicopters? Or one of the older aircraft? Are you guys looking to get back into the missions from the old ages? What's the first thing you guys are going to do when you hop on the update? Let me know down in the comment section below. Until the next time though, subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed the content, and thanks for flying by.